Welcome in everybody, my name is Sean Blaisdell. I am the Inside General Sales Manager here at PDK, and we're back with another coaching session. Today we're going to be talking all about PoE and how it works with PDK. We're going to be going over how it can save you money on the install. We're going to talk about how it's more convenient when it comes to system design and the different types of PoE. Additionally, make sure that you guys are commenting. If you comment, you're going to be entered in for a chance to win your own PoE module. So make sure you guys are commenting. Let us know what your thoughts are on PoE, maybe some of the jobs that you've done using PoE. And let's go ahead and jump in and talk about cost savings. All right, so when it comes to wiring up PoE, because you don't need power, you're actually going to be saving money on the wiring that you would normally be powering to the board. It's also more convenient when it comes to controller placement. So because of the flexibility in the system design, it's going to allow you to put controllers where it makes the most amount of sense when it comes to designing your system to make it the least labor intensive as it possibly can be. Additionally, because you're not having to provide any of your own power and you're using PoE, you won't need to hire any electricians to bring out power to any specific locations to power up your controllers. Also, you don't need a backup battery. Because you're going to be using PoE, you're going to be able to use a backup UPS instead of a backup battery. All right, now, when it comes to the convenience of PoE, you can just plug and play. So because you're actually using PoE, you only need to run an Ethernet cable from the controller back to the switch using that PoE module. So it's going to make things way more convenient. You could just plug and play. Again, we were talking a lot about flexibility, but because you have the PoE module, it allows you to put devices pretty much wherever you want to, because you don't have to worry about power being nearby. It's also a turnkey solution. So if you're already running PoE wiring for your cameras, you might as well just throw it on your access control and make it much more simplistic when it comes to putting together access control and cameras. And scalability. PoE can also allow for simple system additions and removals as needed. When it comes to power, it's a lot more difficult to scale in comparison to using power over Ethernet. All right, so understanding the rules. One thing that is advanced capability, PDK controllers will only draw the amount of power that is provided by the PoE source. So you need to keep that in mind. There are 3 different types of PoE power, and we will talk about those. Alert assistance. Now, if you don't have enough power, if the amount of power required is more than the PoE source, you will be issued a warning. And then source requirements. Once the amount of power required is greater than 30 watts or 25.5 watts at the controller, the system will require 802.3 BT, also known as PoE++. Let's go ahead and take a look at a video on our RED PoE module.
Every RED controller and expansion board features a built-in network input. When a Cat5 or a Cat6 is plugged in, the controller will automatically be discovered and communicate with any other controller on the network. In addition, RED boards are built to be modular, meaning you can choose alternative methods of communication from controller to controller. The PoE module kit enables communication with power over Ethernet. Simply plug the module into any of the RED boards and then connect the controller to a PoE source. ProDataKey recommends using high-quality PoE sources to power your door hardware and equipment. Vigitron is one of the world's best providers of PoE sources and has helped to develop some of the PoE protocols that are in place today. Vigitron has tested PDK's PoE module to make sure it meets their PoE standards. Results of the tests have been very successful and have proven to simplify your access control installation. The size of power source will vary depending on the door hardware being utilized, but it is recommended to use PoE++ to power the controller. When using a Vigitron power source, it is recommended to use an 802.3.BT solution to provide the wattage and amperage needed. An example of a BT power source is Vigitron's VI10120 power supply, paired with a VI30208 managed network switch. For the RED 1 and RED 2, this switch can provide 27 watts per port at 2 amps. For the RED 4 controller, this switch can provide 49 watts per port at 3.5 amps. If any assistance is needed when building a PoE solution, we recommend reaching out to Vigitron's Design Center. This free service will help you to design a solution for your needs.
All right, so as you guys can see, this is the PoE module. This little guy is responsible for what you just saw, makes it super convenient when you're hardwiring a system to be able to power everything with just this little PoE++ module. So I'm excited to give one of these away. Let's go ahead and jump into how our controllers are actually modular. All right, so our R1, 2, and 4, those all have the ability to be modular, so all you need to do is plug in the PoE++ module, and you are good to go to start using power over Ethernet. So let's talk about the infrastructure. It really depends on how many controllers you're going to have as far as providing the PoE source. So if you're utilizing multiple controllers, you're going to want to use a switch. So you'll simply power up the switch, hardwire your Ethernet from the controller back to the switch, and you will have power on the board. Now keep in mind, if you are using PoE++, then it will allow you to power the locking mechanism, whether that's the strike or the mag. If you're utilizing only a single controller, then you're going to want to use just a PoE injector. So as I mentioned, it really depends on how many controllers you're going to be utilizing as to whether or not you want to use a PoE injector or if you're going to want to use a switch. That being said, if you have controllers kind of spread throughout and they're just single controllers, you can use multiple PoE injectors throughout the install itself. So lots of flexibility when it comes to the design when you're utilizing PoE. All right, so let's talk about the different types of PoE. So we have 802.3AF, also known as PoE, 802.3AT, also known as PoE+, and then 802.3BT, which is known as PoE++. As you start to progress up, you will have more power available, and we'll talk about that on our boards. All right, so for the R1, 2, and 4, if you're utilizing PoE or 3AF, you're going to get 11 watts at 0.8 amps. If you're utilizing 3AT or PoE+, you'll get 24 watts at 1.7 amps. Now this is where PoE++ is so powerful. When you're utilizing PoE++ or 3BT, you're going to get 27 watts at 2 amps for both the R1 and the R2, but you're going to get 49 watts at 3.5 amps on the R4. And our friends over at Vidutron, they're amazing. They actually have a system design center that you can go visit. It's at vidutron.com. So be sure to go check that out if you have any questions about how to come up with the power plans for your PoE. We're super grateful for those guys over there. All right, so that's all about PoE. We've already got a bunch of comments. We're definitely going to be going over those. Whoever we pick, make sure you email marketing@prodatakey.com, and we're going to go through that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the questions that we got already coming in. Does a strike need its own power, or is there enough amperage from the PoE power to power the strike? So that's a great question. We talked a little bit about that. Depends on if you're utilizing PoE++ or if you're just utilizing PoE or PoE+. If you are utilizing PoE++, then you will have enough power to power the strike or the mag. I've been using PoE on every board since the beta. I haven't powered locks off the boards with PoE. I still like to have separate power supplies. Works really well for gates. That's awesome. We hear that a lot actually. So when it comes to powering up the locks, it's really up to you. But I'm glad that you're utilizing the PoE and that you're having a great experience. That's awesome. Thank you PDK staff for putting these coaching sessions together. Yeah, absolutely. We love doing them. Can we see more details about the power source in the controllers and hub screen? Right now it doesn't show if the controller is powered by PoE and which PoE standard it is using. That is a great question. If you wouldn't mind shooting me an email, we're going to have it up on the screen, so make sure you guys take this down, but it's just sean@prodatakey.com. I could definitely have my partner success managers reach out, and we could talk about that a little bit further for sure. What is the MSRP for this PoE add-on? Go ahead and shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to send over pricing if you don't have it already. This module will be a great tool to use for remote access control locations. Yeah, I completely agree. Price, okay, we talked about that. Thank you, awesome solution. Does PoE++ give the same amount of power as just wiring directly? Yes, it does. Sorry, I just want to make sure I understood that question correctly. But yes, it does. Thank you for putting the session out there for us to learn more about the PoE product. I appreciate the info. Yeah, no problem, guys. It's PoE is an awesome, opportunity to, again, save money on the install. It's way more convenient when you're designing systems. So, be sure to reach out to our team. If you have further questions and you're not quite sure how to design a PDK system, when it comes to the PoE, our inside team's amazing. We're more than happy to walk you through that, make sure you have the correct parts. But understanding whether or not you need a PoE injector, a switch, what types those are is going to be really helpful when it comes to powering up your system using using the PoE module. Okay. Do we have any other questions? All right, well, while you guys are thinking of your questions, why don't we go ahead and do the giveaway? So just as a reminder, all of you who have commented on here, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and pick out a winner for your free PoE module. All right, we're going to go with Christopher Soroli. Christopher Soroli, you are the winner of PoE module. So make sure you reach out to marketing@prodatakey.com so they can get your information, and we'll send that out your way. Looking forward to seeing how you're going to utilize that on an upcoming install. Yeah, no problem, Christopher. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. We do these once a month, so I'm super excited to catch you guys in the next coaching session, and really appreciate you for tuning in. You guys have a good one.